Every single bank out there has a secret score. It's not something you'll ever see on your monthly statement, but it tells this incredibly powerful six-part story about the health of that institution. So the big question is, how do regulators actually peek behind that curtain?
Think about it. It is a massive challenge for regulators. How do you possibly look inside the black box of a multi-billion-dollar bank and get a real, honest sense of its stability? How do you check its pulse, its vital signs, before something really goes wrong?
Well, it turns out the answer isn't some single magic number. Nope, it's a full-on narrative framework, a comprehensive story that's told through 6 very distinct chapters. It's a system that's been designed to see the whole picture, and it goes by the name CAMELS.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on this thing. We're going to deconstruct the 6 pillars that have been the absolute bedrock of bank supervision for decades now. We're going to see how they turn incredibly complex operations into one clear, comparable score.
And there they are, the whole shebang. Capital, assets, management, earnings, liquidity, and sensitivity. That's what gives us the CAMELS acronym. Now let's really dig in and break down what each of these kind of simple-sounding words actually means for a bank's survival.
So this is where it gets really interesting, because each of these pillars takes these abstract ideas and turns them into hard data. C for capital, that's not just about how much cash is in the vault. It's about the bank's shock absorbers, those crucial buffers against loss, measured by things like risk-based ratios. Then you have A for assets. This is all about the quality of their loans. Are people actually going to pay them back? M for management is a little different. It's more qualitative. It's about the people in charge, their strategy, their culture. E is for earnings. Pretty straightforward. Is the bank profitable and stable? L for liquidity asks a very simple but terrifying question. Can the bank pay its bills tomorrow? And finally, S for sensitivity, which looks at how a big swing in the market could hurt the bank. Each one is its own massive stream of data, all flowing into the final grade.
And each of those 6 pillars gets its own score on this very simple 1 to 5 scale. But don't let the simplicity fool you. The consequences are enormous. A 1 means you're strong, well-managed, rock solid. But as you start sliding down that scale towards a 5, the alarm bells get louder and louder. A 5 signals a critical condition. We're talking an extremely high probability of failure.
But here's the part that I find absolutely fascinating. Getting to that final score, that 1 to 5. It isn't just about plugging a bunch of numbers into a spreadsheet. Oh no. It is a delicate, and I mean delicate, balance of art and science. And it's a process that has been evolving for decades.
So you've got these 2 sides of the coin. The science, that's the easy part to understand. It's the hard data, the quantitative ratios, the stuff you can measure. But that's only half the picture. The other half is the art. This is the seasoned judgment of experienced examiners. They're the ones who provide context, who debate the nuances, who use their years of experience to interpret what the numbers are really saying. It's where human insight meets raw data.
And you can see just how resilient this system is. It was formally adopted way back in 1979, but it's never stopped adapting. After the 2008 financial crisis, for example, regulators put a much stronger emphasis on that L for liquidity because they saw firsthand how fast a bank could go under without ready cash. And today, the core logic of CAMELS is the engine behind sophisticated supervisory technology, or SupTech, which turns this once manual process into a near real-time fire hose of analysis. It's an incredible piece of database history, really.
So, in the end, all of this work, all the data crunching, the analysis, that human judgment, it all comes together to produce that one final composite score. And that score tells a story with profound implications, not just for the bank, but for the entire financial system.
A score of 1, this is the gold standard. This is the goal. It represents strength, stability, and just plain old sound management. A bank with this score is considered a pillar of strength, and regulators can pretty much leave them alone.
And then you have the other end of the spectrum, a score of 5. This is the ultimate red alert. It means the institution is in critical condition. Regulators are on high alert, and they are likely gearing up for some serious intervention. The contrast couldn't be more stark.
And this is really the key takeaway. Behind that single number, whether it's a stellar 1 or a terrifying 5, is an absolutely mind-bogglingly deep and comprehensive database. It's a living, historical record of every ratio ever calculated, every risk ever assessed, and every red flag ever raised. It is a monumental achievement in the history of data-driven oversight.
So the next time you think about your bank, just remember there's a story being written about it, constantly, in the background. A story told in the language of data through this CAMELS framework. Which kind of leaves us with one heck of a question, doesn't it? What story is your bank's data telling regulators right now?